Alright, hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Justin here, and hey, now that we have that old Chevy out of the way, we got the Duramax pulled in here. Now let's go ahead and get back to some basics and do some maintenance on this thing. A lot of people probably know how to do maintenance already. Some may not. I've been on a lot of diesel forums and stuff like that, and even Facebook pages, and you wouldn't believe there's actually a lot of guys out there that don't know some of the basic stuff. They're just getting into some of these older diesel trucks, and maybe they want to do some of their own maintenance. So we're going to go ahead and tackle oil change, fuel filter, and we're going to do the trans spin-on today. So we all know maintenance is high priority. Haha, right? You see how I did that? So we're just going to go ahead and take care of all this maintenance ourselves. Better than spending $100, $125, $150 on an oil change. I used to work at a private diesel shop, and oil changes were well over $100, and then you add in a fuel filter service, that's going to be a lot of money, and even just the trans spin-on is going to be some money. So I went on Amazon and I got all these genuine AC Delco and Allison filters for this truck. Got them on Amazon. They're quite a bit cheaper than going to a big parts house. I don't really stress too much on filter brand unless it's not like a name brand, some super cheap thing off Amazon. Stick with the name brands, you should be fine. Some guys go as far as using cat filters and put adapters on things and all that. You know, I've sold those in the past. I'm not really into it on my own truck. I don't use those. And then getting into oil as well, we're just going with the old trusty conventional Mobil Delvac. Oil is another thing. A lot of people have a lot of opinions on oil. Me personally, I buy what's on sale, $15.40. Today's Mobil Delvac, I don't put a whole lot of thought into it. I don't even change it every 3,000. Yeah, I actually change this every 5,000. And it's conventional oil, it's $15.40. So, and I don't see a problem with it. And it's been fine for 200,000 miles now. So, all right, so what's the worst thing about doing maintenance? Well, it's doing maintenance. Maintenance kind of sucks, it's not that fun, but on this truck, it's not that bad. We're not gonna be pulling the trans pan off. We're not gonna get into that stuff. We're just doing a basic service on it. So it shouldn't be that bad. All right, just hang tight, hang with me, and we'll get through it. All right, so the first thing we need is a bucket, some tools, and some funnels. Oh, and lastly, we need some coveralls. All right. Let's hop down there, see what we got going on, and hopefully not make a mess. All right, here we are. So here is your engine oil pan right here, and here's our drain plug right here. This is a 16 millimeter. This one is a 2002, it's an LB7. Once you get into the later models, I think they changed the size down to a 13. Over here is our trans spin-on. We'll go ahead and take care of this in a minute. And right above this drive shaft here is the oil filter. So we'll go ahead and get those here in a second. First, we're gonna get this draining. Now on my truck, it's lifted. It's a little bit easier to deal with because we got all this room here. On a stock truck, there's usually an aluminum skid plate sitting right about here. So that's where this comes in. This is a forma funnel, and you can actually jam it in between that skid plate and your oil pan, and it bends around and it forms a funnel, right? And it lets you direct the oil where you want it to go. All right, let's get this plug off, get the oil draining, and then we'll get the filters going. All right, here's another look at our spin off our trans. Here's our transmission pan. We're not gonna go in there. There is a filter in there. You don't need to usually worry about it with our regular maintenance services. And up here is our oil filter. We'll grab our wrenches here. I'll go ahead and link all the stuff I'm using, the tools and the filters and everything in the description. Go ahead and break this one free. This is where our nice forma funnel comes in. Kind of bend it around, get it so it'll catch our oil. And then we'll slowly just spin this out. And we'll go ahead and crack loose this trans spin on here. Just gonna take a blue rag, clean up our surface here. Put a little bead of oil on your filter seals. And then spin this new filter on. These I just snug them down decent with my hand. I don't get crazy. I've seen some that are crazy tight. Oil plug I just went and cleaned up. There's like a copper washer. Looks like it's got a little rubber in it. Just inspect it, make sure it's looking good before you slap it back in. A lot of oil leaks come just from a bad plug, so. Get a wrench on here, 16. Snug it up real good. Now we'll go ahead and pop this filter here. If nobody's messed with your truck, there should be a little magnet inside here. There it is. It's probably due for me to do a trans fluid on this. It's looking a little dirty. But here is a magnet. The magnet's not too bad, but there's a magnet that sits inside that filter there. Grab the new one. We'll slap that back on. I'll give you a little closer shot of that here in a second. Alright, this has stopped leaking now. We can push the bucket out of the way. Show you where that Allison filter goes. So here's the magnet. The magnet just sits right up there like that. Genuine Allison filter. We'll spin this one on here. This one too, I just snug it up with my hand, not crazy tight. It's not too bad. Alright everyone, everything's done down here, so let's go ahead and go to the top and we'll tackle that fuel filter and we'll get the oil going in it. Alright, so everything's taken care of on the bottom. We got the oil drained, got the oil filter swapped out, we got the trans spin on swapped out. It's all cleaned up, we're done down there. So almost on the home stretch here now. Let's just go underneath here and we'll fill the oil. Here is our oil fill here. Here's your oil cap. Pull that up there. Grab myself funnel here. And we'll come over here, get our jug of oil, and we'll start putting some oil in it there. And if you come over here, down here is our fuel filter. There it is. Here's our fuel filter primer. So we'll use that here in just a minute. Now I've seen a lot of guys, a lot of other mechanics, and they'll try to bend this AC line to squeeze that filter out up top here. Don't do that. Don't try to do the easy way. Don't also come down here and slice a big slice in your fender liner. Don't do that either, okay? All you have to do is take out all these little push pins. Now these are kind of tricky. They do break. They also sell them on Amazon for really cheap. And they also make a pair of pliers for them. They're these here. These are actually from Harbor Freight, okay? These are very cheap, maybe 10 bucks, but use these. Here, check this out. Here's our push pin. It's got two little claws on it. Just go on either side, pull. See how easy that was? That's it. Okay, there's a bunch of them all over. You don't have to do the whole thing. Just do about half of them right up to here, and then you can get this whole fender liner to lay down. And you can get up there. So let's go ahead and tackle that, and then we'll get to that fuel filter. There is our fuel filter. So this is where we're gonna come through to take it off. All right, typically there would be a wire on the bottom of this guy. Hard to see down in here. There'd be a wire on it and it would plug in right over here. There's a plug. Mine is clearly broken off. It's for the water and fuel light that comes up on your dash. Usually these are not terribly tight. You can get them out with a pretty good grip. Like so. Just unscrew it gently. Pull it down. Look how easy that is to come out of there. So, all right, here's our filter we just took off. Now when you take yours off, make sure that this seal comes off of your filter housing. I've seen some guys that don't notice that, and then they go to put their new filter on and it doesn't screw on, or they get it on and it leaks everywhere and they don't know what's going on. Well, it's because they doubled up their gasket. So here's our new one, AC Delco. Comes with 2 new seals, one for the top and one for the whiff sensor in the bottom. See it here? So we'll go ahead and get this wrench. I got this one from Merchant Automotive. I'll link it in the description as well. Now the newer trucks, the LMLs and up, their wrench is a little bit different. So if you have one of those, make sure you're getting the right one for the correct year. Anyways, this locks in here and you just turn it out. Now that's loose. And that's it. Now this guy here, let me get this camera to focus a little bit here. The water gets in there, it'll make this little thing float and sets off a light. Now mine's broke, you can see there's no wires in it, so it doesn't really work, okay? But I've never had bad fuel. I've had this truck for many, many years, so cross my fingers, right? I don't know. Maybe I just jinxed myself. All right, now you just peel that other seal off. Now for all these O-rings and stuff, I like to have just white grease on hand. Makes stuff a lot easier. And my fuel filter, I don't put a whole lot of miles on this truck, but I try to do a fuel filter about once a year. I mean, the date on this one was 5/19. These are prone to leak. I've seen guys on forums talk about these are leaking. You can pick these up at any automotive shop or a parts house. I would recommend that you try to get one from a dealer. I don't think they're that much money. But anywho, also it is plastic, so don't go cranking it in there like a crazy He-Man, because it will break. So now mine's in there, put my wrench on here, and it's just compressing that O-ring. That's about it. Same goes with the top. Put a bunch of grease in here. Oh, that's another thing I didn't talk about. This is also another seal. This comes out on some filters. See how that comes out? Sometimes this will stick in your filter head, and guys don't realize it, and they go to put this on and it goofs them all up. So just pay attention and make sure all the rubber comes off. So then just lube this up real well and stick your new seal in here and put a bunch more here. Put some on the inside like that. Give her the good once over and we'll go down there to screw it on. So let's go. These do screw on kind of goofy, because if you notice, there's not really that many threads. So we're going right on up there. Just make sure you have it nice and square and straight. And it should go up just fine. Now that one I will put a wrench on and snug it down. Alright. Now that's done there. Now usually you would plug in your whiff sensor and it would plug in right back here. But like I said, mine is gone. So now let's go up top and I'll show you how to prime this. There is our priming bleeder screw right there. See that? It's kind of hard to see. The flashlight kind of glares it out, but it's a 13 mil or a standard screwdriver. I've got a 13 mil here. A lot of these too are plastic. The one I have in here is an aftermarket one. It is brass, I think. It's got an O-ring on it as well. You just screw it out so it's loose, and you start pumping. Hear the air coming out, so this is pushing the air out and drawing the fuel in as you pump this. We just wait, pump it, wait for some fuel to start dribbling out, and then we close that bleeder. Once you do them so many times, you can kind of guess as to when that fuel comes out. I clearly did not. And that's it. You don't have to crank on this, just snug it up. Now you pump your pumper until it gets hard like that. And we're done with the fuel filter. All right, let's throw the oil in it and then get it fired up. Oh, by the way, Duramax takes 2.5 gallons, 2.5 gallons of oil. All right, everything's done. We just got the fuel filter wrapped up. We're full of oil. So let's go ahead and check it. Here's your dipstick here. It's got this bright yellow handle on it. Pull it out. And it looks good, pretty good. So go ahead and stick that back in. Pull our funnel out. Cap ourselves up. And we're gonna go ahead and start it up. Check all the fluids and make sure we're good to go. Alright guys, transmission's good. It's right in the center of the cold range, which this truck hasn't been driven, so that should be fine. I think you can change that spin on a few times and lose a little bit of fluid without really having to add anything. Also, the oil level is good, so that's it. Services are done, basics are all taken care of, fuel filter's not leaking, and we should be good for another 5,000 miles. Alright guys, if you liked the video, please like, subscribe, all that stuff. I'd really appreciate it. And I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.